Hi, class. Welcome to Module 7. This is your final week of the course. So, you've done great work exploring the many dimensions of elections and campaigns, from party systems and campaign finance to topics like polarization, media influence, and voter participation. So, this week we're going to close by examining what ultimately drives election outcomes, how voters make their choices, and how polling helps us understand those choices. So, we're going to begin with Chapter 13, which is voter choice. The voter choice lecture is going to explain the major factors that influence how people decide who to support. Party identification has the largest impact on voter choice. It's one of the most stable and powerful predictors of voter behavior. So, most people form their party identification early in life, often shaped by family and social influence, and it remains remarkably consistent over time. You're also going to look at how social groups such as race, religion, gender, and class shape political presence and preference, and how incumbent performance kind of influences elections. When voters believe they're better off under the current administration, they often reward incumbents or the incumbent's party. But when they feel worse off, they tend to vote for change. This is retrospective voting, and it's a key theme in understanding electoral accountability. Beyond these dominant factors, you're also going to explore how issues and candidate traits, such as personality, honesty, and leadership, can affect decisions, though they're typically secondary to partisanship and social identity. So finally, the lecture examines how campaigns matter, even when the most voters decide early. So campaigns can still persuade undecided voters, reinforce existing loyalties, and prime voters to focus on certain issues, which shapes how we interpret candidates and events. And then the second half of this week focuses on polling. And the polling lecture explains how surveys measure public opinion, why accuracy for polls can be challenging, and how can shape campaign strategy and media coverage. And you're also going to learn about different types of polls: benchmark surveys, tracking polls, exit polls, and focus groups, and what each contributes to understanding voter behavior. You're also going to discuss why polls sometimes miss the mark. Uh, for example, there can be issues like sampling error, question wording, selection bias, and social desirability effects that all influence results. And you're going to see examples of how small methodological choices, like who's included, how undecided voters are treated, and when a poll is conducted, can really impact the outcomes of a poll. And the key takeaway is that polls are useful tools, but interpreting them requires caution and context. Um, so your final discussion is about what exit polls can tell us about voter choices. And this really invites you to kind of connect what you've learned throughout the course to our discussion topic. Remember to post your initial post by early in the week and follow up with your classmates by Friday, because this is the last week of the course. Our timelines have shifted a little. Your post is due Wednesday and your peer responses are due on Friday. And then again, you're going to have two short assessments this week. And again, remember all of your due dates are now on Friday. As we conclude the course, I want you to take a moment to reflect on how far we've come, from the rules and the history of elections to the modern kind of dynamics that shape how Americans participate in democracy. So, understanding the interaction between voters, institution, and information is really key in making sense of our political process and ultimately to improving it. So, it's really been a pleasure to have you in class and kind of guide you through the course. Remember, if you have any final questions this week, reach out to me via the Canvas inbox, because I'm always here to help. Thanks. Bye.